Turning the amazing world of Harry Potter into a playable game makes every 11-year-old's dream of going to Hogwarts a reality, but to put that story in Lego form was a stroke of brilliance. The Lego Harry Potter series is an absolute delight with a plethora of jokes that will keep any gamer in stitches. After watching young Harry enter the wizarding world and learn a few tricks, he joins the Golden Trio in countless hijinks, and today we're taking a closer look at the time that they levitated a couple of sleep potion-filled cupcakes in front of Crabbe and Goyle's greedy faces to knock them out cold before stealing ingredients to make Polyjuice Potion. Maybe someday we'll look at a food-safe and muggle version of Polyjuice Potion, but today we're taking a crack at those cupcakes. And what is the closest thing we've got to a sleeping potion? That's right, a whole lot of booze. Using these, we're going to make a couple of cocktail cupcakes that'll knock your socks off. Now to start the cupcakes, we're going to need a batter. I'm going to go through the steps of making a yellow cake batter, but feel free to use any box mix of yellow or vanilla cake. To start this mix, we're sifting together our dry ingredients, which starts with 270 grams or 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. Then, using a great tip from Preppy Kitchen's John Cannell, we're going to add 35 grams or 1/4 cup of cornstarch. This will up the protein content of our batter, allowing us to use all-purpose flour instead of cake flour. Then add 2 teaspoons of baking powder and a half teaspoon of salt. Whisk these together until well combined, and then we're on to our wet ingredients. In the bowl of a stand mixer, combine 1 stick or 1/2 cup of unsalted butter that is nice and soft at room temperature with 300 grams or 1 1/2 cups of sugar. Cream these together with the paddle attachment until they are light and fluffy, making sure to scrape down the sides of the bowl to get all the sugar off the bottom. Drizzle in 1/4 cup of vegetable oil and 1 teaspoon of a nice vanilla extract. Once combined, we're going to add in 3 room temperature eggs and 2 egg yolks, along with 1 cup of buttermilk. Now my camera shut off while filming this part, so please enjoy the 4 seconds of footage that I did manage to catch. Once all of our wet ingredients are combined, we're going to gently whisk the bowl of dry ingredients in a couple of batches. I like to do this part by hand so that I have complete control over when to stop mixing. Mix until no dry clumps remain and scrape down the bowl to make sure there's nothing stuck to the bottom. Since we're making 3 different types of cupcakes, I'm going to split up my batter by weight. In this case, each third of batter came out to about 390 grams. Now it's time to start what will become the base for each of our cocktails. The first cocktail cupcake we are making is inspired by a Bourbon Old Fashioned, so we're going to mix the zest of half an orange along with 1 tablespoon of fresh squeezed orange juice into our batter. Whisk gently until the zest is evenly distributed, and start pouring into a prepared cupcake tin. These cupcakes don't have a significant amount of leavening agents in them and will keep a relatively flat top when baked. Therefore, I'm filling the cupcake papers up to a little over 2/3 full. The batter I have here makes about 7 orange-filled cupcakes. Next up, we're making a mudslide cupcake, which means chocolate. To this third of the batter, we are adding 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder and a half tablespoon of espresso powder. This won't make the cupcakes taste like coffee, it'll just enhance the deep chocolatey flavor. Since this is a lot of extra dry ingredients, I'm also adding an additional half tablespoon of vanilla extract. Then, once again, we're whisking the batter together until no dry clumps remain and pouring the mixture into our cupcake tin. The third and final cocktail cupcake we're making is a tangy margarita. This one starts with the zest of 1 1/2 limes along with the juice from half a lime. Same as the rest, whisk together and spoon out until we've got the most varied cupcake tin I have ever seen. All of our cupcakes are going into an oven preheated to 350 Fahrenheit or 175 Celsius for 15 to 18 minutes until light and spongy. You know they're done when a toothpick inserted in the center comes out totally clean. Now while those are all off cooling, we're going to start making a buttercream that's going to be flavored in a multitude of ways. Normally I would add a little vanilla extract to my buttercream, but I'm trying to keep it unflavored so our cocktail flavors can really stand out. Start with 2 sticks or 1 cup of room temperature unsalted butter in the bowl of a stand mixer with a paddle attachment. Add a half teaspoon of salt and cream until light and fluffy. We're then going to slowly sift in an entire pound of powdered sugar a little bit at a time. To avoid making a huge mess, I like to remove the paddle attachment before sifting and then mixing on the lowest speed until incorporated. But no matter how careful you are, powdered sugar will end up pretty much everywhere. Once all of the sugar has been added, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of heavy cream. For a softer frosting, you can add more cream, but remember we'll be adding more liquid to this before we're done, and I want to keep it pipeable. It's finally time to start assembling our cupcakes, so get all of your alcohol ready, and let's start with our Bourbon Old Fashioned. Grab your cupcake with the orange zest off the cooling rack. I'm going to poke around 20 to 25 holes in each cupcake with a toothpick before lightly brushing them with bourbon. I'm using 2 teaspoons of bourbon between all 7 of the cupcakes. We want to infuse the flavors in there, but if you add too much, they're really going to pack a punch. Then I'm adding 2 teaspoons of bourbon to 1/6 of our icing. This is going to form the filling for our cupcakes, so it's okay if it's quite soft. Rule of thumb when cooking with alcohol, try and use something that's of drinking quality. If you wouldn't want to drink this bourbon on its own, then you won't enjoy the flavor in the cupcake either. This icing will be going into a piping bag with a tip cut off, or a reusable piping bag with a large circular tip. For the icing on top of this cupcake, I'm adding a squeeze of orange juice and a couple dashes of orange bitters to another 1/6 of the buttercream icing. I used equal ratios of each, but the goal here is to add only around 1 teaspoon of liquid so that piping the icing onto the cupcakes is easy. I'm then filling a piping bag fitted with an open star tip. We're going to hollow out each of our cupcakes using a melon baller. Leave about 1/2 inch at the bottom so that you don't break through. Then using the bourbon buttercream to completely fill each cupcake. Using our star-tipped bag with the orange icing, we're going to top each cupcake with a nice swirl. I'm attempting to use about equal amounts to fill and top each of our cupcakes so one flavor doesn't override the other. And finally, adding a garnish, which can either be some orange zest or a candied orange peel if you're feeling extra fancy. Moving on to our Mudslide cupcakes, we're using the ones made with cocoa and espresso powder, and once again poking each 20 to 25 times with a toothpick. For these, I'm going to lightly brush each with coffee liqueur, dividing up about 2 teaspoons between all 7 cupcakes. Take 1/6 of our buttercream frosting and mix in 2 teaspoons of a fitting liqueur. I'm using Screwball, which is one of the world's most delicious peanut butter whiskeys. It literally doesn't get any better than this. But you can use any coffee or chocolate flavored alcohol that you prefer. Whisk it all together and fill a piping bag with the tip cut off. Next, for our topping, add 1 teaspoon of chocolate vodka to another 1/6 of our buttercream. Whisk together, and this time we're filling a piping bag with a very large circular piping tip and setting it aside to prepare our cupcakes. Once again, scoop out the middle of our cupcakes, leaving 1/2 inch at the bottom, before filling each cupcake with our Screwball flavored icing. Honestly, I could eat this icing by the spoonful on its own. Then we're topping each of our cupcakes with the chocolate vodka flavored icing, and topping that with a single maraschino cherry. And for an extra flair, garnish these with a light shaving of medium dark chocolate. Alright, one last time for our Margarita cupcakes. Poke each cupcake with a toothpick before lightly brushing them with 2 teaspoons of curacao, or if you don't have it around, triple sec will work just as well. The next 6 of our icing will be mixed with 2 teaspoons of tequila. Use something nice here as the flavor will really come through. Whip it together to incorporate the tequila, and scoop the icing into a piping bag with the tip cut off. Squeeze 1/2 a lime into the final 1/6 of icing along with a zest of 1/2 a lime. This final icing is going into a piping bag with a closed star tip. This tip is going to give the icing really sharp definition. Scoop the inside of the lime flavored cupcakes with a melon baller and fill with the tequila buttercream icing. Finally top with a large swirl of the lime buttercream and you're done. Now these are 3 very different cocktail cupcakes. The cupcakes I've created here today are unique from all other cocktail cupcakes I've seen before because every component of them is flavored in a way that creates a true mixed drink when put together. Before I dig in, remember to like this video if you think these cupcakes were awesome, and subscribe if you like my content. I post weekly recipes from different video games, so hit that notification bell to see my newest videos. Now I think I'll be safe with a nice Mudslide cupcake. Dang, that is good. Uh-oh. These the ones with the sleeping potion in them? But really, these cupcakes were incredible and taste just like the cocktails they are inspired by. Pick your favorite to make and let me know in the comments down below how they go. Also, check out my Instagram to see some super aesthetic pictures of each of these paired with its respective cocktail. Link in the description down below. I hope you enjoyed this week's recipe. Swing by my Twitch channel to hang out and see what games are coming up in future recipes. We have a lot of fun checking out new games every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. I can't wait to see you there.